Am I a hero? I really can't say, but yes.
Welcome, and consider yourself lucky. You've stumbled upon the Bro Sports Podcast.
It's like eating a hot circle of garbage.
Now we'll be talking sports.
Whether it's not being picked for a team, or being picked for a team, and then showing up and realizing that the team doesn't exist, or that the sport doesn't exist. I should have known. Poop ball?
But more than that, we'll be talking about life, love, the pursuit of happiness, everything as it relates to being a bro.
Sometimes we play who can put the most M&Ms in their
So
mouth.
sit back, relax, and if you can get through the whole 30 minutes, I guarantee satisfaction.
That's what she said. Oh my.
We are Professional. Thanks for joining us today. I'm really cool.
And I'm the Cartman, and this is Bro Sports.
This is episode number 3, and nobody is more surprised than we are that there is an episode number 3.
On today's show, we're talking Week 2 of the NFL.
We're going oops, told you so, surprises, disappointments, impact players, and more.
We'll tell you who you can expect to win each of the Week 3 matchups, and of course, we're always right.
Cartman is on the Turning Point hot seat this week, and trust me, you don't want to miss the questions I'm going to ask.
Geek Speak continues this week.
I've got weird and true geeky headlines, and we talk about the last season of one of our all-time favorite shows, The Office.
We continue our conversation from last week regarding comic book movies, this time looking at the worst movies.
Man, this is a jam-packed show, Cartman. You ready?
Let's do this.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rock!
Talk about sports.
He did stick his nose in there and everything else he had. And it's tight and it's right up there. You see he's going to bring it right in darn near to his chin at the end. You just got the feeling that he smelled the 8-hole and then got it in the end zone. It's not that hard to get a tight end open. And that guy sits inside you, just cut it off and run right across his face.
Now for the section of our show that's dedicated just to sports.
How am I supposed to get my mouth around that?
That's what she said.
So let's take a little look. Let's do that. Let's take a little look at at our picks from last week. I think I made a little bit of a comeback on you, just a little
bit. You got one game on me. I'm not too worried about it.
So I went 9-7. You went a horrible, dismal 8-8. Horrible.
Hey, better than you last week.
That's true. Hey, we're not talking about last week. So, which puts me at the season after 2 weeks at 16-16, a perfect mediocre, and you are at 17-15. So you're one game up. Now, I just want to remind our listeners of what we got going on, what we have wagered. The loser will have to sing a song of our listeners' choosing. I noticed there's a suggestion out there for a song called Barbie Girl.
Yeah, you don't know that song?
I do know
Oh,
that song.
okay.
Unfortunately.
I was going to say,
But-
how well do you know it?
But this is my suggestion to the listeners. And yes, ultimately it is the listener's choice, and we'll go with that. But let me just tell you a little story. This is after the Thursday game, after the Packers and Bears game last week. My wife is upstairs watching The X Factor. You know what that show is, Cartman?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Horrible show. But she's watching that show, and I walk up there, and I look on the TV screen, and there's this guy standing on the stage, dressed in a bridal gown, and he's dolled up in makeup, and whatever he wants to wear, whatever he wants to be is fine. That's not why I'm talking about this. Why I'm talking about this is because he chose to sing a Lady Gaga song. And here I am thinking to myself, even if he's the best singer in the world, how the hell is anyone going to know? He chose a Lady Gaga song. It's like it's like a chef trying to make a gourmet meal out of garbage. Let's say he's successful and makes a beautiful meal out of garbage. He used garbage. How are you going to know if it's a good meal or not?
Hey, chefs can do amazing things.
The reason why I'm bringing this up, though, is because I think the listeners should choose a song that's current and like a good song, because Cartman singing a really good song really horribly will be a lot more embarrassing than Cartman singing a really crappy song really horribly.
By Cartman, do you mean really cool?
No, I mean you. I mean you losing and having to sing a horrible song. I'm pretty sure that.
Okay, well, we'll see. We'll see. You still got a game to catch up to me.
A game.
And
yeah,
I'm not
one
going to
game.
pick so many road
How
teams
many more
this week.
games are we picking? We got 14 times 16. I can't add that.
Oh crap, me neither.
Okay.
Wait.
So, let's review. What is your
Okay.
biggest oops? Now, just for a little bit of clarification, oops are our mistakes. It's not has nothing to do with the players or the teams. It's I shouldn't have said that. What's your biggest oops for week 2?
My biggest oops. I do have one question though. How good did that guy in the dress sing?
I don't know. He was singing Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga.
Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
don't know.
Well, anyways,
He was hot though.
Gaga.
I'll give you that. Yeah.
all right. My biggest oops for the week is picking the Broncos over the Falcons. I thought the Broncos was going to win this game hands down. Peyton Manning played so well in week 1, and he threw 3 interceptions in the first quarter.
Plus,
It's
they
only
had
the second
another
time he's ever
turnover
done
in that
in
first
his-
quarter too.
in his career. And he's only won one game. He's 1 in 15 out of games that he's thrown 3 or more interceptions, which I thought was in his whole career, which I thought was a pretty interesting stat.
Yeah. My biggest oops. Are you still there?
Yeah. I'm
Okay. I
here.
thought I lost you for a second. My
where would I
biggest
go?
oops is saying there is no way that a Romeo Crennel coach defense will play so horribly back to back. Well, how did they prove me wrong? Right?
Yeah, they did.
Hey.
Big time.
They allowed 40 points against the Falcons. They only allowed 35 against the Bills. So they're making progress.
They're getting better.
They're
Yeah.
good.
By week, what would it be? 8? They'll be shutting teams out, right?
Exactly. Right? So
I think so.
I'm going to go with the Chiefs. Just picking the Chiefs again, and it crushes me. It crushes my heart. It crushes my soul. I love the Chiefs, but and it's going to be honestly. I haven't decided who I'm going to go with this week in the Chief game yet. It's going to be a coin flip when we get to that part of the show. Yeah, my biggest oops though is having faith in my team. Isn't that a horrible oops?
That is a horrible oops. I'm glad I don't have to say that this week.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you got for your told you so moment this week?
My I told you so is a good one. I picked the Seattle Seahawks to hold strong against the Cowboys, and they made me proud. The Cowboys are consistently inconsistent. I said this on the show last week. After they do really, really well, they go out and do really, really bad. And so I was glad to see the Seahawks kind of punch them in the mouth a little bit. And you know what I liked about watching the Seahawks play? They are getting a reputation for being a tough team. Almost like
they really are. Winning with defense and special teams?
Yeah.
Definitely.
And when you see a wide receiver go lay out a hit like Golden Tate did, that just means you have just a tough mindset on a football team. It reminds me of some of the things I used to see Hines Ward do on those Pittsburgh Steelers, really tough Pittsburgh Steelers teams. So, so good job,
Did
Seattle.
Golden Tate get up smiling like Hines Ward would always do that?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't pay that close attention.
They weren't showing his mouth.
I wasn't paying attention to his mouth, you freaking weirdo. You pay too much attention to guys' mouths.
Just Hines Ward. He's got such a pretty smile.
Oh, that's cute. What about you? Your biggest I told you so.
My biggest I told you so was picking against the Saints again. I picked against them twice this year, and I am 2-0 in those games.
And you know what? I'm not going to hate you if you pick against them this week.
Yeah.
The Chiefs.
I don't blame her. I don't know who I'm going to go with in that game yet
me
either.
neither, man.
Maybe I'll let you go first on that
okay.
one and take the odds.
There you go.
But anyways, I picked the Panthers to go over the Saints. Cam Newton played well. The Carolina defense played well. It was pretty, see, what was the score of that game? I can't remember off the top of my head.
It was...
Panthers 35-27.
Yeah.
It was a good game. The Panthers defense held them to less points than they needed to score, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The Saints couldn't score on them as much as they needed to. Saints defense looks horrible. Jonathan Vilma needs to get back on the field, which nobody knows if he's gonna. His suspension got dropped, but he's on the PUP list, so soon as he will come back is week 6. But by then, they might be 0-6.
Hey, since you mentioned Jonathan Vilma, what do you think about that whole situation? I think he's coming out of this looking like a freaking idiot.
I really think so too.
I mean,
he's posted on his Twitter account something about, they have one statement, which was Greg Williams, the defensive coordinator, a signed affidavit. On his Twitter he said, they have one affidavit, I have 8. I'm like, Yeah, but that's Greg Williams, your freaking coach. Why would he lie?
Right.
He's not even the coach.
And
he's not even
gaining
coaching right now in the
nothing
league.
from lying.
Yeah.
It's not like they're going to say, "Oh, lie about Vilma, and then we'll give you anything." He can never coach in the NFL again. What does he
Probably
have possibly to gain? I'm pretty sure that he couldn't. I'm pretty sure that's one of the consequences. I don't know. Vilma just is looking like an idiot through this. I think he's guilty to some degree. He had something to do with it. Maybe it wasn't as bad as what the NFL is accusing him of, but he had something to do with it. So by denying everything, I just think he's looking very, very unrealistic.
I think so too. What do you think of the year suspension though? Do you think that's too harsh?
Yeah, I do think it's too harsh for something like this. I mean, this is something that's been going on under the table forever. You go out as a football player with the mindset of, I'm going to hurt somebody. I'm going to win. I'm going to crush somebody. I'm going to hit somebody as hard as I can. And so to find somebody for saying, for just saying that out loud is a little bit silly. And here we go. We saying, oh, well, they're bribing people. But isn't that what the NFL does? Doesn't the NFL bribe these players with contracts to play well? So what's the difference between the NFL paying a player to do their job than another player, giving an incentive? You know what I mean?
Yeah. What you're saying makes sense, but when you go back and you look at that hit on Brett Favre, which is like the main play that everyone's talking about during this whole scandal, that play, he got hit up top and down low at the same time after he already threw the ball. If that happened nowadays, that would have been an easily 15-yard penalty and probably fines from the NFL to both players.
As far as I know, though, there's nothing that proves that wouldn't have happened had there not been a bounty. So, your biggest surprise?
My biggest surprise was the Seahawks beating the Cowboys. I could not believe it. I came out and I said the Seahawks are going to go 0-3. Instead, they'll just go 1-2. But I said the Seahawks are going to go 0-3 and lose to Dallas Cowboys. So I thought they looked really good week 1, and I don't know what the heck happened to them this week in Seattle. I guess the 12th man really does matter.
And you know what? That's going to be another hard game for me to pick. Seahawks and Packers. I know it's not going to be a hard game for you to pick, but that's still one that I haven't made a clear decision on yet. And I have 20 minutes before we get to that part of the show. So let's see. My biggest surprise is going to be the Arizona Cardinals. They're 2-0 right now. That's just unbelievable. That's ridiculous.
That is, especially against the teams they play.
Yeah, and I don't think they're that good as their record, but who cares? They're 2-0. Regardless of how good I think they are, they're a 2-0 team right now. And that division, the NFC West, is looking like a tough division. And that's another surprise.
It is. And what's kind of funny about that division I was thinking about today is that almost every division every team in that division is run the ball and defensive teams.
Yeah.
There's no elite quarterbacks in that division. I mean,
Sam Bradford might be there late in a few years.
In a few years, yeah. I would take Alex Smith over Sam Bradford as my quarterback.
Well, I would take Alex Smith's scheming. I would take Alex Smith's coaching.
Yeah, I do know what you mean. His consistency.
But I think Sam Bradford's the better talent.
True, and I guess put Sam Bradford on the 49ers.
Right.
But anyways, what I was saying was that every single division in that team is, run the ball, strong defense. They're not high-flying, high-scoring teams. It's kind of a old-fashioned type of a football division. It's nothing like the Packers or the NFC North. It's not like the AFC North.
And I like that kind of football.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch this year. It definitely is.
Mm-hmm. And I think you put those teams up against each other, and any team can come out the winner. I think 49ers are the clear favorite, but after that, and I think the 49ers could lose in Seattle, or they could lose in St. Louis. You know what I mean? They're not going to sweep the division. They'll lose a game. So that's going to be a really fun division to watch. My biggest disappointment, let's move on. My biggest disappointment is Chris Johnson. Chris Johnson needs to shut his mouth. He has 19 carries for 21 yards. That's a 1.1 average. And this is after, the Tennessee Titans are paying him a lot of money. And it's not just him he's screwing. He's screwing every single running back that comes after him that's looking for a contract. Because if I'm an owner, I'm like, why am I going to pay a running back when I see consistently running backs just peak and then plummet. So why would I ever give a running back a big contract? And this is what Chris Johnson says. In an interview, he says, people need to step up and do their job. They don't need to let people beat them. It don't matter who the opposing defense is. You can't let the guy beat you. You just can't give up plays. He sounds like an idiot.
He really does. I mean, I'm sure he's talking about his offensive line in that statement.
Yeah, but running back does not talk smack about their offensive line.
Oh, I know. You want them to block for you. You need to be buying them Cadillacs and buying them dinner and bringing them cases of beer.
Especially with the money Johnson's making.
Their minds need to connect. Yeah. They have to be play like one person.
Yeah.
Like one unit.
All right. What about you? What's your biggest disappointment of the week?
Let's see. I think my biggest disappointment. Let's see. I haven't come up with one yet.
Well, that's disappointing.
Yeah, well, I had one. I can't remember it now.
My biggest disappointment is Chris not having a disappointment.
Well, we'll come back to that in just a moment. I had one, but I can't remember.
All right, we'll come back. What about impact players? Do you want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so my impact player on offense, I'm going to go with Eli Manning doing it again in the fourth quarter, coming back from
he played
insurmountable odds. Now, he didn't really play great the game. I think he had 3 interceptions or something. He had a lot of interceptions, but he throws for a career-high 510 yards, 3 touchdowns, and another comeback victory. Eli Manning just proven to be that reliable guy that you want to have on your team in the fourth quarter. Another interesting stat. Do you know who the number 1 and number 2 receivers in the league are right now in terms of yards?
No, I don't. Victor Cruz.
Yeah, Victor Cruz and Hakeem Nicks. Both Giants.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Both Giants are number 1 and number 2 wide receivers in terms of yards in the league right now. That's insane.
Gosh.
And it's thanks to Peyton Manning and his unbelievable, 510 yards. And, that's you kind of look at that and go, well, it's the Giants' fault that he needs to throw for 510 yards. Yeah. You shouldn't be in a position where your quarterback needs to throw for 500 yards to barely win a game.
Yeah, the Buccaneers did score 34 points against that Giant defense.
Right. What about, do you have an impact player on offense?
Impact player on offense is got to go with Reggie Bush for the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, he played great.
He did play great. And, I could kind of use that as an oops, too, because week 1 I said he's one of the most disappointing players to ever come out of the draft. But this week he had
I bet he wants you to say that about him again.
What was that?
I bet he wants you to say that about him again, just so that I think he heard our podcast and used that as fuel.
But anyways, Reggie Bush played amazing this week. I think for the Dolphins to have any sort of success, he has to play, maybe not that good every week, but he has to play well every single week.
Yeah.
For the Dolphins to do good with that rookie quarterback. Mm-hmm. Who do you got for offensive impact player?
You mean defensive?
I mean, yeah, that's what I meant.
Defensive. I'm going to pick a guy that's kind of in he's not center of conspiracy, but he's definitely on the outside of not conspiracy, controversy. Controversy right now. I'm going to go with Cortland Finnegan because by the definition of impact player, that means you have a guy that impacts the game in a way that allows their team to win. And if you watch the end of the Redskins-Rams game, Cortland Finnegan really does a jerk move, right? He pushes the head, the young Redskins receiver, and just waits for the receiver to retaliate. And he does. The Redskins receiver takes the football and chucks it at him and gets a 15-yard penalty, pushes them back out of field goal range, and now all of a sudden they have to make a 60-yard field goal to win the game. And, of course, that's completely unreliable. So
that is a pretty jerk move. I didn't know about that.
It is a jerk move. But
he's got to be careful. Remember that time he tried doing that to Andre Johnson and got his ass kicked?
Oh, that was awesome. But
that was like one of the greatest.
I think he did that on purpose. I mean, because here's a Cortland Finnegan player who's just consistently a jerk and an asshat, and so I think he did that. And if you watch the video, he kind of pushed him and immediately walked away, and he was not surprised. He did not react whatsoever when that ball hit him. He knew it was going to happen.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. So I got to tip my hat to him, though. He won the game. He won the game for the Rams. And it was a jerk move, but he impacted the game. and he's the reason his team won.
Yeah. I wonder if anybody coaches that kind of thing, you know? Tries to get that little edge.
Not Fisher.
Oh no, actually not Fisher.
Yeah.
Well, Fisher, he's the hard nosed.
Yeah, he's an old school guy.
Tough type of guy.
Right.
Yeah. But anyways, impact player for defense, I gotta go with my boy Clay Matthews. He had 3.5 sacks against the Bears. The Bears offense could not do nothing. At the end of the game, they had like 74 passing yards. A lot of people were picking the Bears to win this game, and
I was one of them.
Green Bay's defense took it to heart, and they showed Jay Cutler what happens when you talk bad about a defense. And that defense just seemed like they had the best night of their lives out there. And
they stepped it up big time.
I think Jay Cutler will never talk crap about that Green Bay defense again.
God, Jay Cutler's another guy that
just
just looks
idiot.
like a tool.
He is a tool,
You know what?
and he is such an idiot.
And I actually wanted to talk about Jay Cutler a little bit and kind of stick up for him, but I can't. I can't stick up for him. Because I wanted to say, some of those questions that they asked him at the end of the game were ridiculous and stupid. But Jay Cutler's an idiot.
He is. I've never been a fan of Jay Cutler.
Asking Jay Cutler
Never.
a stupid question is like singing a Lady Gaga song in a bride's dress.
That's funny.
All right.
And I also love what Charles Woodson said after the game. Did you hear about that?
I didn't.
Woodson said something. I don't have the quote right in front of me, but he said something like, yeah, it was same old Jay Cutler. All we had to do is be in our spots, and he throws the ball right to us.
Oh, geez.
Because this is, I think, don't get me wrong, but I think this is his third game against the Packers that he's thrown 4 interceptions.
Nice.
Since he's played for the Bears.
Man, that's nuts. All right, I got some more things that are nuts for you. I got some crazy
Okay,
headlines for you. Oh,
I did think of my disappointment player.
okay.
Yeah, I'm an idiot, but all right. I was gonna say the Patriots kicker. I can't pronounce his name. It's really long and weird. Yeah,
Yeah,
Gostkowski,
Gobstopper.
But
Gostkowski,
anyways,
I think it is.
Gobstopper.
Yeah, Gobstopper.
Gobstopperski.
Yeah.
Okay, but I think the Patriots should have won that game against the Cardinals, and he had the chance to win it at the end, and he just blew it, missed, and it's disappointed.
I got some crazy headlines for you, though. Remember,
Okay.
last week we did a little segment called If the Season Ended Today.
Yes.
I went ahead and did that again. So if the season
Okay.
ended
Let's
today
hear
and
it.
these last 2 weeks repeated themselves over and over and over till the end of the season, these would be your end of the season headlines. So one crazy
Okay.
headline would be that the Arizona Cardinals would be on top of the NFC West. And I know that right now they're tied with the 49ers, but still they're on top of the NFC West right now.
Yes.
Another crazy headline would be that Philadelphia Eagles are on top of the NFC East, and they have their first in total offensive yards. The Saints are last in the division, also the worst defense in yards and points. The Redskins are number 1 in points per game with 34, and then the 5th one would be C.J. Spiller and Reggie Bush are numbers 1 and 2 in rushing yards. Which one of those 5 headlines do you think has the greatest chance of being a headline at the end of the year?
I think this one actually sticks out to me pretty easily. I think I would have to go with the Saints having the worst defense in yards and points.
Yeah.
I
And being
really do
last in the
believe that.
division, too? Are you going to take that part of the headline, too? They're going to finish
I don't
below
think
the
I can-
Bucks, and they're going to finish below the Panthers?
No, I'll split that one in half. I don't think they'll finish below the Bucks. I do believe they might finish below the Panthers. I mean, Panthers already have the tiebreak on them. They already beat them.
True.
This last weekend. But with Arizona on top of NFC West, that just might happen. You don't know if they can win a game against the 49ers, get the advantage, and they both end up 10-6 or 11-5. Who knows? Arizona could win the NFC West.
That would be nuts.
That would be
I don't think
nobody.
they're going to do it.
Yeah,
I think they're still the worst team in the division. In a good division, though.
yeah, that division's a lot better than I thought it was.
Yeah, me too.
But then Philly on top of the NFC East and first in total offensive yards.
I think I would pick that one as being the most likely.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I picked the Eagles to win the East, and they could have the most total offensive yards, sure.
I don't see why they couldn't, but I don't think they're going to win the NFC East still.
Really?
I really don't. Michael Vick, he's only played 16 games 1 year
I think they will.
out of his whole career. And I don't think I think he'll get hurt at some point, be out a couple weeks, lose half those games, fall back behind maybe the Giants or the Cowboys or the Redskins.
Right. Fun to watch, but yeah, they can't do that.
Yeah.
And since we're talking about the Redskins, got to give a
Yes.
shout out to our good pal Adam Carricker. Season-ending injury, torn quadricep. And I know we're not going to give shout outs to every single player that's out for the season, but Adam Carricker is a Kennewick Lion, and he's somebody that I know Cartman and I have been and still will continue to follow his career. And
definitely,
we just want to let Adam Carricker know that we're rooting for you, man. Hang tough.
Yeah. Hey, didn't you catch an interception off of him in high school?
I did.
In practice?
I did. I was on the scout team defense because I sucked.
Yeah.
And I had to play cornerback because everyone else was sick or hurt or I don't know. And so they moved me from
we
linebacker.
should actually tell everybody before you tell this story that Adam Carricker, defensive end or defensive tackle in the NFL, was our high school quarterback.
Yeah, he was. And he was a good quarterback.
But anyways,
well,
he was pretty good.
He was almost too strong for our receivers, but yeah. And I was lined up against, I don't even know what I was doing, honestly, and the ball just came right to me, and I picked it off, and I didn't run with it because I didn't know what the hell to do because I'm an idiot, and I was scared. And I was nervous.
Did you just fall down?
Yeah, I just fell down. But it's my claim to fame. I picked off an NFL defensive tackle. Woohoo! I also accidentally knocked him over one time in practice.
Oh, really?
Because
were you on
he's a huge
offensive
dude,
defense?
and he was huge back then. But it was my senior year, and so I was playing the scout team running back too. And he was the scout team quarterback just because they didn't want him playing on defense and get hurt on defense, because he was our.
Oh yeah.
And then he ended up playing the next year on defense, and so I didn't know what I was doing like normal, and I ran the play to the wrong side, and he was expecting to hand it off to the right, and I ran to the left, and I ran straight into him, and he wasn't expecting me to do that, so I knocked him over. Yeah.
What did he say to you?
He didn't say anything. He's a
okay.
nice guy. I don't even think. Yeah, he would never say anything mean about anybody. So before we go and make our week 3 predictions, which I know people are dying to hear because people put money on it in Vegas and stuff based on what we said, and we're losing people a lot
experts.
of money. Yeah, we're losing people a lot of money. But I would like to just share what our wonderful, fabulous, beautiful listeners are putting on our Facebook page. We asked our listeners for their impact player of the week on offense and defense, and we have somebody that agreed with you, Dessa, who I don't really agree with her choice in men.
Shush! Don't talk about my wife like that.
And but she agrees with you that Clay Matthews deserves the impact player of the week, and she got her wish. She was your impact player of the week. And we have another person who kind of is thinking outside the box a little bit. My buddy Chunk. It says Chance, but he's Chunk. And he chose the whole Seattle Seahawks special teams, who really, and he says that they set the tone and had a huge impact for the game. And he's absolutely right. They come out and the special team scores or is responsible for or sets up the first 10 points of that game and really puts Dallas in a place, on the road, and they're down 2 scores before they even know it. And so I think Chunk has a great point there. He couldn't decide on one player. He decided to pick a whole team, but I think that's a good idea. I think I might start doing that.
I know, you might get something right.
So let's go ahead and move on to our week 3 predictions. You ready?
Sounds good. I'm
Thursday
ready.
game. This is in 2 days, but it will be in 1 day when people are actually listening to this. Giants at Panthers. Both are 1-1. Who do you got?
Giants at Panthers. I'm going to have to go with New York Giants on this one. I think Eli Manning is going to come back and play well again. He has played well the first 2 weeks, and he's going to come back. He won't throw for 510 yards again, but the Giants are going to play better, and hopefully Ahmad Bradshaw comes back and helps them out a little bit.
There's a lot of really good games this week, and I think this is one of them. I'm going to go with the Panthers, and I think the Giants, at least, I know they're a great playoff team, but in the regular season, they're a lot like the Dallas Cowboys, where they do well, and then they play like crap, and then they do well, and they play like crap. And we talked about it earlier, and the defensive side of the ball for the Giants didn't show up last week. And I think the Panthers can, I'm not saying they're definitely going to do it, but I think that they can take advantage of that, and I think they can do it, so I'm going to take the Panthers.
Who do you got for the Buccaneers and Cowboys game?
Buccaneers and Cowboys, this is another one of those games that, could go either way. I'm going to go with the Cowboys at home. That roller coaster team that is the Cowboys, I think they'll come back and they'll play well, and they'll beat the Bucs at home.
I have to go with the Cowboys, too. It's their home opener. They played the first 2 weeks on the road. I'm going to have to go with the Cowboys.
Yeah. All right, Jags at Colts. Jags yet to win a game.
Yet to win a game. I'm going to have to say it's going to have to wait till at least week 4 on this. I'm going to have to go with Colts and Andrew Luck winning 2 games in a row.
And we agree once again. I'm going Colts. And it's not necessarily because I think the Colts are all that great right now. But
the Jags are just bad.
Yeah. The Jags aren't looking very good. All right, what about Jets at Dolphins?
Jets at Dolphins, I think I got to go the Jets. The Dolphins rookie quarterback Ryan Tannehill is not going to be able to pass the ball against that Jets defense. I think they're going to be, they're just going to want this game more. They're going to win it, that defense and that offense. Mark Sanchez, who knows, maybe Tim Tebow will even run for a touchdown in this one, but I got to go Jets. Reggie Bush ain't going to have a game like he had last week. I got to go Jets.
Hey, I thought we weren't going to mention the T word on the show.
Oh, shoot. I said a curse word.
I'm just kidding. So I think this will be a close game, but the Jets will win. All right, Chiefs at Saints. Hold on. I need to get my quarter out so I can flip it in the air.
Yeah, no kidding.
These two teams are the 2 worst defenses in the league in terms of points. They're both tied at allowing an average of 37.5 points a game. That's ridiculous.
That is crazy. But I'm going to have to lay a guarantee down on this game.
Uh-oh.
I guarantee that one of these teams are going to win. I just don't know which one.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to say the Saints. I guarantee the Saints to beat the Chiefs, and I dare you to pick the Chiefs in this game. I dare you.
Well, the Chiefs are 32nd right now in turnover differential at -6. That's pretty stinking bad.
That is.
But it's also a stat that is very inconsistent, right? So if you look at that and you're like, okay, this could go either way week to week, the turnovers, and relatively that's the way it works for the most part. You'll have a team get hot on turnovers, especially on defense and stuff, but relatively week to week, a turnover stat is not something you can lay your hat on and say, we're going to win because we're going to turn the ball over, because you don't know that.
Yeah, you can't.
I got a surprising stat for you, though. Did you know that the Chiefs are number 5 in offense?
Offensive yards?
Offensive yards.
Really?
They are. I saw that yesterday. It completely surprised me. Now, a lot of that is garbage time, right? They're throwing the ball just because they're down 30 points.
Yeah.
But still, it gives me a little bit of hope. And when you're a Chief fan, that's all I could really hang on to.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, Chris. Cartman, I'm talking myself into it. I'm going with the Chiefs.
Oh, geez. You always talk yourself into the Chiefs, though.
I do. All right. I'm picking Kansas City. They'll do it.
Okay. Do you guarantee that?
No.
Okay, let's go Bills and Browns. Who do you got in the Bills and Browns
Bills
game?
and Browns. Browns have yet to win a game, and I don't think they're going to do it. I think the Bills win.
I think I'll take the Browns on this one.
You would.
I think the Bills defense just can't stop anybody so far, and the Browns, they got to win sometime. That rookie running back did good last week. Trent Richardson, I think he's going to come back, do it against the Bills. And even though the Bills, I said, surprisingly good defense this year, but I don't think it's going to happen.
The Bills looked okay against
the Browns
the
at home.
And the Bills have the current number 1 running back, C.J. Spiller.
Yeah, they do. He didn't even start the year on the depth chart, number 1.
Yeah, that's true. Isn't that crazy? Man, trying to predict the NFL is ridiculous. All right, Bengals at Redskins. Both teams 1-1.
Got to go Redskins at home. Even with Arakpo and Carricker out, I got to go Redskins.
I'm going with you. Redskins are a fun team to watch. I'm kind of rooting for them a little bit on the side. And I think they take that game at home. Rams at Bears. Let's just jump in and let me know when you want me to make a pick first.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. You can take this one.
Oh, wait, which one are we on? Rams at Bears? I'm going to go Bears. The Bears. I picked the Rams
Bears.
to win last week, and the big reason was because they were playing at home. I think the Rams are a pretty solid team. I think they're going to get better and better throughout the year. But the Bears are going to come out fired up, a little bit angry, and I don't know. I think the Bears are a better team than the Rams, and I think the Bears are a better team than they played last week in Green Bay. I'm going to go Chicago.
Okay, I'm going to go Chicago too. Did Jay Cutler talk trash about the Rams defensive backs this week?
I don't think Jay Cutler's allowed around a microphone anymore.
Oh, okay. As long as that happened, I'm going to go Bears in this game too.
Awesome. 49ers at Vikings.
49ers at Vikings. Got to go 49ers. That Vikings offense ain't going to be able to do anything against the 49ers. I really don't believe with Christian Ponder. He's showing a little flashes here and there of being a good quarterback. And Adrian Peterson, what do 49ers do? They stop the run.
Yeah.
Adrian Peterson might get 60 yards and a touchdown if they get lucky,
Yeah.
I got to go 49ers in this game.
49ers are, in my opinion, the number one team in the league right now. They're 2-0. They're tough. They're going to win this game easily. They'll win it by 3 touchdowns.
I think 49ers, they don't win by 3 touchdowns ever. I'll go 10 points tops win this game.
So we're in agreement that they win. All right, Lions at Titans. Oh my.
Lions at Titans.
Lions at Titans. Oh my.
Okay, I'll go Detroit Lions on this one. I think they're going to go 2-1. Titans are going to drop to 0-3. Didn't you pick them to win the division? But they're going to go 0-3.
Yeah.
Lions are going to be
that was
mad.
stupid.
Yeah,
The Titans are, you know what's crazy? When you look at the defensive rankings in terms of points, the 3 teams at the bottom are 3 teams that I picked to win their division.
Oh, wow.
The Chiefs, the Saints, and the Titans. And wow, I hope nobody took my picks to Vegas on that one. That was pretty dumb.
No kidding.
But
that's pretty crazy.
And I don't think the Titans are going to win this game either. I think the Lions, I need Megatron to have a huge game for me. I mean, he's done okay.
Win a game in fantasy.
I have him in like 2 or 3 of my fantasy football teams. I have way too many freaking fantasy football teams. But I need Megatron to have me a big game. I think he will against the horribly, what is that, 29th ranked defense. So I think they do it. Lions take it pretty easy.
Yeah, I agree with you again.
All right, Falcons at Chargers.
I think I'll let you go first on this one.
I'm taking the Falcons because I hate the stinking Chargers. I do hate the Chargers. That's not why I'm going against them. The Falcons just look really, really solid right now, especially offensively. One thing they have to watch out for is their run game. They really don't have one. Michael Turner, he's having issues with the law right now. Did you know he was arrested after last night's game?
Yeah, I saw that.
God,
I don't know if what he was happy about, but who knows? Maybe he won't even be playing this next week.
Yeah, I don't have any information on that. But even when he's in there, he's getting old. He's slow. They need to put, what's his name? Jacquizz Rodgers. They need to mix him up. Jacquizz. They need to mix him into the game a little bit more. And I think they will eventually. But right now they need to work on that run game. That's the only thing I'm worried about for the Falcons. But they beat the Chargers. Absolutely.
Well, I think the Falcons' run game will be okay. I mean, they can start doing things like the Packers do, throw swing passes out of the backfield, screen type passes, and I think their running game will be fine. I mean, if you don't have a good running game, but you're a good team, you can find ways to keep the defense honest. But I'm going to go Chargers in this game. I'm going to say San Diego wins at home. That defense is pretty impressive to me. I like the way they play. They play strong and they play with heart, it seems like. And I really like the Chargers so far this year, which is, at the beginning I said I hate the Chargers. They're not going to win crap, and now I'm picking them to go 3-0.
Yeah, right. Well, the next game we're picking is the only game where we're having 2 undefeated teams square off against each other. And that's pretty rare for a week 3.
Yeah,
there's a lot more 1-1 teams than ever before. I saw that stat on
there's
NFL
21-1 teams more than ever before.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. So, this is the only one where we have 2 undefeated teams going up against each other. It's Eagles at Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are better than I thought they were, but they're not good enough to beat the Eagles. I'm going Philadelphia.
You go in Philadelphia. I think
You almost said it. You stopped yourself from picking the
I
Cardinals.
did say, I'll take Arizona.
Oh, you will. All right, I'm catching up.
I will.
Steelers at Raiders. Raiders have yet to win a game this season. Who are you going on, Steelers at Raiders?
Gotta go Steelers.
Steelers.
Raiders offense, Carson Palmer's known for a lot of yards, but that's pretty much all that team's doing.
Yeah.
Steelers
Loving
all
it.
the way.
Steelers.
Palomalu's gonna get an interception and just wreak havoc.
Texans at Broncos. Another great matchup.
I'm gonna take the Broncos on this. I think Peyton Manning will come back and have to show that he's not the 3 interception in 1 quarter type of quarterback.
I think
he's
Peyton
gonna come
Manning,
back and have a big game.
I think Peyton Manning will come back eventually, but I don't think it's going to be against the Texans. Did you know that the Texans are right now have allowed the fewest amount of points than any other team?
Crap.
They're the number 1 defense in terms of points right now.
You need to start saying your stats before I make my picks.
Yeah, I'm talking you into it. So I'm going to go Texans on this one.
Okay, I'll go
Texans
Broncos.
will take it. They're hot on offense. They're hot on defense. They're looking to be, and you know what? The Texans might just be the best team in the AFC right now, which is, and I didn't even have them going to the playoffs at the beginning of the season.
Yes.
All right, Patriots at Ravens.
Ooh, this is two great teams coming off of a loss. I'm gonna go
Can
Ravens.
you believe that one of these 2 teams is going to be 1-2?
Yeah, no, that's nobody would have thought that.
No.
But I gotta go Ravens in this game. I don't. The Patriots with Aaron Hernandez out 4 to 5 weeks, they did pick up Kellen Winslow and Deion Branch. But
moves like that just point out desperation.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
When you're picking up players
they're
week
scared.
3, you're desperate. You're scared.
Yeah, there's a reason those players weren't on a team already. I mean, Kellen Winslow got cut by the Seahawks.
Yeah.
So, I gotta go Ravens on this.
I'm going Ravens
really
too for that same reason. I think the Patriots are a little bit scared right now. I think they'll be fine throughout the season. I think they easily take the division still, but they're not ready for the Ravens, especially on the road. All right, the very last game is a tough one. We have a lot of Packer fans, listeners, and the team that we have the most listeners are the Seahawks because we're a Washington State-based podcast. Mm-hmm. So this is one we have to choose carefully.
Yeah,
Packers
you know
Seahawks.
who I'm gonna choose. So I want you to go first on this one.
You want me to go first, Dagnubbit?
Well,
you know what?
To go first.
I'm going Seahawks because the Seahawks. They helped me catch up last week. I think they can do it again. And as I'm saying this, I'm feeling like a tool shed. You know why? I have yet to pick the Packers yet this season. Is that ridiculous or what?
Yeah, you're kind of an ass.
Yeah. But I'm going Seahawks. I think they're a tough place to win at home. I think the Packers are a good team, but I think they're I don't know. They have one game where they didn't play very well, and they have one game where their defense just was amazing. The problem with the Packers right now is their offense. It's not a bad offense. They've been playing against good, tough defenses. I'm not saying they're bad by any means, but they're just they have yet to click. They have yet to show that explosiveness that Green Bay showed last year on offense. And their defense, sure they did it. They had a great game, one game, but they're still kind of a defense that I don't have a lot of faith in yet. I'm going Seahawks. Let's do it. Let's go, Seattle.
Okay, I think Clay Matthews is going to run wild once again against a rookie quarterback who's, don't get me wrong, he's a lot more mobile than Jay Cutler.
Yeah, a lot faster than Clay Matthews.
The Seahawks, one of their starting offensive linemen was a defensive lineman until about 2 months ago. Came out of college as a defensive tackle, and now he's playing offensive line. And I think the Green Bay Packers front seven are just going to demolish the Seahawks front seven. I do think Marshawn Lynch might go for over 100 yards in this game, but I just got to go Packers, not because of the offense, but because of the defense. And when you look at the Packers offense, and you say that they're looking mediocre right now, they're not looking explosive.
Not explosive, yeah.
Yeah, well, they've been playing good defenses, as you said, but wait till they get to week 6, 7, 8. They got Colts, Rams, and Jaguars coming up. So don't worry, they're gonna get their numbers.
Yeah.
And everyone's gonna say they're a great offense by the end of the year. Don't even say that they're not a great offense. just cause, Aaron Rodgers, MVP. But I think they're gonna win this game once again because of their defense, not their offense.
It's time for Turning Points, my personal favorite. Cartman, can you explain it to us?
Yes, Turning Points is really simple. It's where one of us asks the other a bunch of questions really fast with 5 to 10 seconds to answer the question. And whoever's answering the questions has no idea what the questions are going to be until they're asked.
All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
Question number 1. If you could go to a Packer playoff game in Lambeau Field for free, but you had to wear a Bears jersey and cheer for the other team, would you do it?
Oh, wow. Ah,
10
jeez.
seconds.
I would do it just because I've never been to Lambeau Field and I want to see that field before I die.
All right, which undefeated team will remain undefeated the longest?
Oh, jeez. I'll have to go 49ers.
What fast food restaurant has the most disgusting food?
Oh my gosh, Wendy's. Have you ever had their fries? They're absolutely horrible. They do have good chicken sandwiches, but everything else at Wendy's is bad.
If you scored a touchdown in the NFL, how would you celebrate?
I would do the Raji dance. You know, he swings his hips back and forth. That's about all I can do to dance.
Which coach will be fired at or before the end of the year?
Ooh, whoa, that's a good question. Let's see. I would go with Romeo Crennel, but he can't. Oh, jeez. I say Jaguars coach. Fired.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fire him.
Yeah.
Don't fire Romeo. All right. Here's a good one.
All right.
If you were in a swimming pool full of poop and someone threw up to your shoulders, the poop's up to your shoulders, and someone throws a bucket of barf at your face, do you duck?
A bucket of what?
Barf.
No, I wouldn't duck. That came out of somebody's mouth. Might as well go in mine.
Last question. Which one of these should not be considered a sport? Golf, car racing, or cheerleading?
Cheerleading, of course. Oh my gosh, that's not a sport. It's an activity. It's a hobby.
All right, time's up. Now I get to argue your very last point. You said cheerleading should not be considered a sport, and I totally disagree with you.
Really?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, well, your wife was a
know
cheerleader, wasn't she?
She was a cheerleader. She coached cheerleading, but that's not why.
Oh, okay.
I watched a documentary on cheerleading, actually. I'm kind of a documentary nerd. But did you know that cheerleading has the most injuries by far, including serious head traumas like paralyzations? It's cheerleading that has the most injuries more than any other one, any other activity.
Really? Of just those
Absolutely.
three, or more
It's
than
not
like
even
football?
close. No, it has like 10 times more than football.
Wow.
Especially serious injuries.
Well,
Because you think about it, these girls are they're wearing no protective gear. They're thrown into the air. They're left for dead pretty much.
Y'all ready for this?
Kill me.
Moving on to something else.
You don't seem to have much of a handle on this.
Sports talk is over.
God, you think that every thought that comes out of your head is pure gold. Well, let me tell you something. Some of those thoughts are pure caca.
If you were a chick, who's the one guy you would sleep with?
John Stamos.
What? Did we just become best friends? Yup.
It is time for Geek Speak.
See, if you had killed me when I said kill me, I wouldn't have had to hear that.
It's time for Geek Speak. And we're going to start Geek Speak with a little bit of I read the National Geographic every once in a while. I'm well educated on certain things. And I was on their website and I saw something really interesting that I wanted to talk about with you.
Oh, what's that?
What they did was, I'm convinced that a group of stoners got together to figure this out. 'Cause this is ridiculous. What they did is they took some cockroaches and they built on them like this little electronic backpack, and somehow it goes into their nervous system, so that they can actually remotely control cockroaches.
Like a live cockroach?
Yeah. So basically, what you got here is a cyborg. Cockroach cyborg.
Wow. That's weird. What are they going to use it for?
Well, the article now let's be honest. The real thing they're going to use it for is that, oh my god, I can't believe we did this. Pass me the Cheetos. That's really what they're using it for. But they say they could use it for, so there must be cameras on it too, because that way they could go and they can find like earthquake survivors or stuff that people can't get to. They can send their army of cockroaches in there and go and look for people that are like buried under rubble and stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, that'd be a good use for it, actually.
That would be kind of cool.
It actually worked.
All right, so here's my question for you.
What?
If you had at your disposal an army of cockroach cyborgs, or cyborg cockroaches. I'm not sure which way that goes. What would you use these for?
Oh, man, what would I use them for?
It's like, what wouldn't I use them for?
Exactly. Let's see. If I could only use them once, I would save them until the Packers made it to the Super Bowl again and send them into the coach's office of the rival team.
Dude, that was the dumbest thing. You were really close. You could have sent them into the cheerleader locker room, and you picked coach's office. You're fired.
Hey,
you know what I would do?
Maybe the coach is cute.
You know what I would do with them?
What?
I'd sell them to Yogi Bear. Because he's always looking for ways to steal the picnic of baskets. So that's what I would do. I'd make money off of them. Selling them to cartoon bears. Geek. Our next geek headline is this Thursday is the beginning of the end for one of our favorite shows.
I know. I'm not looking forward to it.
This is the last season of The Office. And we know The Office is one of our favorite shows. I mean, we even have it in our intro theme song.
Yes, we do.
And I'm going to miss The Office. But I got to say that last season was the worst season.
I don't know. The first season was pretty bad.
No, the first season was miraculous.
Really? I can't even watch the first season. It's pretty bad. But
I love it.
But it's good, but it's the worst. Last season, I actually thought last season was pretty funny. I mean,
that whole CEO storyline though, it was ridiculous. It was like, why is the CEO of the company always hanging out at one of the branches? It made no sense.
Oh, that's true.
I don't know. I didn't like that character really either.
I don't like that actor very much.
Yeah.
But I do like how Andy Bernard was the head of the branch, always trying to win his, make everyone their friend, but then play nice to the boss.
Yeah, but see, I didn't like that because it was kind of like, okay, which character could we use and still use a lot of our Michael Scott storylines for? So which character is most like Michael Scott in the way that, he's not confident at all, that he doesn't have a love life, or he has this struggling, love life with Aaron. And
I actually don't agree with that. I think because Michael Scott, he didn't always kiss up to his bosses. He was honest with his bosses. When Michael Scott was there, he called up his boss and be like, I want a raise, or actually that was to his girlfriend.
Jan was his boss, remember?
Yeah. Well, like even
how do you not kiss up with her when you're sleeping with him?
Yeah, true. But
what was I going to say? Any expectations for this last season? Anything you want to see happen?
I would like to see Michael Scott come back for an episode.
Oh, I'd love
at least one episode.
See, without him, he was the show for me. I can watch reruns of The Office over and over and over and over.
Definitely.
When he's in it. He is just Michael Scott. It should have been called Michael Scott, not The Office. Yeah. You know what's funny about that? Every morning I watch Mike and Mike in the Morning, on ESPN. Yeah. And my son will watch it with me too while we're getting ready for the day. And we'll also watch The Office. And the main character, he's always hearing Michael, Michael, Michael in The Office. So he calls both shows Michael, Michael.
Oh, that's so funny.
Isn't that funny? Oh, yeah, dude. Michael Scott, everyone's got to know him.
Yeah, no kidding. But
I
think this last season, I think they're going to do something big. I think they're going to, like the last episode, something huge is going to happen, like, I don't know if it's going to be super funny or ridiculous or like tragic. They could have, a character die or something like that. But something big is going to happen this season. And I just don't know if they're going to go the funny way or the tragic, like, heart-wrenching way. You don't know with that show.
Right. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what they do. I think it's going to open off with a bang this Thursday. So I'm going to be, I'm going to be watching. I'll actually watch it Friday because I'm going to watch the football game on Thursday. Decisions. Alrighty. So now we're going to continue our conversation from last week, talking about comic book movies. Now, when I was listening back at the podcast, I realized I never even told you what the top 10 were.
You didn't, and I was going to ask you about that this week.
We only talked about 5 of the top 10, so let me just run down that real fast, and then we'll just skip all the way down to the bottom of the list. So, number 1, Dark Knight. Number 2, Avengers. 3, Dark Knight Rises, 4, Iron Man. Those are ones we talked about last week.
Yes.
The number 5 is Spider-Man 2, which is the best of the 3 of those Spider-Mans.
Yeah, of those 3.
Right.
The third one has got to be in the bottom 10.
All right, well, yeah, we'll talk about the bottom in a second.
Horrible.
The 6 was the 1978 Superman that we talked about a little bit. Batman Begins is number 7, which means all 3 of the new Batman out of the Batman trilogy are in the top 10. And then you have 2 X-Men movies. Which one of the X-Men movies do you think is first?
Let's see. My favorite was
There's
number
5
3.
The Wolverine. It's not that.
It's not that?
Nope.
The Wolverine?
It's not Wolverine.
Origins?
Yeah.
I didn't. That wasn't one of my favorites. I just thought that might be one of the most popular.
Nope.
Was it X-Men Origins? Because I really enjoyed X-Men Origins.
Yes. X-Men First Class is next.
Oh, First Class. Sorry.
And then
not Origins.
X2, second one, obviously. And then the last one, ending up the number 10, was the first Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire.
Oh. I could see
okay.
the first 2 Spider-Mans are pretty good.
The last one killed it.
The last one was horrible.
I can't even watch it, man.
I know. I think I've seen like the first half. Once Venom comes in and talks, he doesn't. You think Venom's gonna talk like like deep and dark or
wait.
like,
How's he gonna talk?
scary.
What's he gonna sound like?
You missed it. You need to. You'll hear it when you.
Okay.
Exactly. Or like a deep, dark, menacing voice. But he's like, he comes in, you see Venom, you're like, oh, okay, here's Venom, and then he's like, hi guys, how's it going? Like. He doesn't say that, but that's just kind of like the effect it had because it was so shocking, like the way he sounded.
They should have put a wedding dress on him and had him sing a Lady Gaga song on X Factor. That's
not a bad idea.
Yeah.
It's not a bad idea at all. I don't know. Just that alone makes me not want to watch that movie.
So you would not have. Oh wait, we're talking number 3, but it is number 3. And I'll go ahead and tell you, since we were talking about it, Spider-Man 3 is down at number 26. So it's kind of right in the middle of this list of 51 comic book movies of all time. Now, I just want to refresh our listeners in case we have new listeners this week or whatnot. How this list came about was I went to the top 2 movie sites on the internet that I could think of, IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes. I took their rankings from those 2 sites and I averaged them together. And so that's where this list came from. It's not a list that Cartman or I put together. It's a list based upon reviews on the 2 biggest movie sites on the internet. And so let's go ahead and skip down now to the bottom 10. The crappy of the crap superhero movies. And we had some really good ideas on Facebook here. So let's go ahead and see how many of the bottom 10 are listeners to cross off for us before we even start talking. Is that fair?
Okay. Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So Dalton was the first one to respond. And Dalton says Ghost Rider 2 would have to be at the bottom. And he is right. Ghost Rider 2, which I've never seen, is...
I've never seen it either.
5th from the bottom.
Really?
5th worst comic book movie of all time. And that's a new movie, too. I think that's...
I know.
And usually you see the newer movies go to the top, but no, not this one. Ghost Rider 2.
Where's the first Ghost Rider end up?
And that is the 8th worst movie of all time.
I thought the Ghost Rider, the first one with Nicolas Cage, I thought it was all right. I think it's a watchable movie. I wouldn't say, hey, that movie's awesome, go check it out. But I think it was a watchable movie. I don't know if I'd put it in my bottom 10.
Yeah, the bottom 10 of all time.
I have not seen Ghost Rider 2
yet. But I can tell you why. Because Ghost Rider is a comic book character, but he's not necessarily a superhero. And so there's a lot of people that are into comic books, but not into comic book movies. But I think there's more people that are not into comic books, but are into the movies. So they're not going to know who Ghost Rider is. They're not even going to recognize him as a superhero character. So they're not interested in that movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's why it's really down there at the bottom. We have Miguel who is saying Thor. Thor is the worst one. And I like Thor. I like the Thor movie a lot.
Yeah.
So that is not in the bottom.
So did my wife Dessa. She liked it a lot too. I thought it was okay. I thought it was the worst of the four Avenger movies.
Oh no, it was better than Captain America.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. That one was kind of bad too. But Thor was okay. I tried watching it again. I've only seen it all the way through once. And the first time I was kind of disappointed. The second time, I thought it was really good, but it was like really late at night and I fell asleep halfway through. So I want to give it another shot, but it wasn't the best of all time.
I liked it a lot. I thought, what's that guy's name? I'm not very good at celebrity names. Hemsworth?
Oh, I have no idea who plays Thor.
The actor did a great job. They really portrayed that Thor character very well. But it's not even close to the bottom 10. It's number 20 of all time, so it's in the top kind of third of the list.
Oh, okay.
Let's see.
I could see that.
Kelsey guesses Spider-Man 3, which we were talking about how we hated. We absolutely agree with Kelsey, and we mentioned earlier that's number 26, so kind of right in the middle of the list, but not the bottom 10. Aaron guesses Elektra or Spider-Man 3.
I've never seen that.
And I've never seen it either, but he is right. That is the fourth worst comic book movie of all time.
Really?
Elektra.
Doesn't it have Jennifer Gardner in it?
It does. I've never seen it. But, you know what? I like Jennifer Gardner in the Daredevil. I talked about last week how I was a fan of the Daredevil movie.
Did she play Elektra in the Daredevil movie
she
too,
did.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I like her as an actress. She's done some good movies, and I don't know, maybe I'll check that movie out just to see how it turned out.
How bad it is. It's almost fun to watch a really bad movie. You know what I mean? Like, it would be fun to sit down and have a movie marathon throughout a weekend where you watch the worst superhero movies of all time.
That would be pretty fun.
You know what I mean? It would take a lot of beer, but I think it would be a fun time. Aaron also guesses the second Fantastic Four movie.
The Rise of the Silver Surfer?
Rise of the Silver Surfer, which is not on the top 10 worst. It is number 37, so it's pretty close down at the bottom. But I like that one a lot better than the first Fantastic Four.
I actually hated the first Fantastic Four so much, I didn't even waste my time with the second.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did not like the first one so much.
See, my wife...
I'm not a big Fantastic Four fan. I know you've read all the old comics and stuff, but I haven't, and I'm just, I don't know, it's kind of ruined for me, I guess. Fantastic Four is just, doesn't, I don't know. Make me want to watch them.
Give the second one a shot. The second one has the Silver Surfer in it, and I think they just do a wonderful job with the Silver Surfer in that. I think it's okay. I mean, it's Fantastic Four. I understand why people don't like it. It's very, very cartoony. That's one of the reasons why my wife does like it, which is why I saw both of them, because my wife is really into those movies, and they're fun. She loves The Thing. The Thing is her favorite character. But they are very, very cartoony. They're a great comic book movie for kids. But yeah, I could kind of see on a list of superhero movies. But number 2 is not on the bottom, but number 1 is. So Fantastic Four number 1 is the 9th worst movie of all time. It's back to Facebook. Dessa says that she does not like any of the Superman movies. None of them. None. And you know what's great about that, Dessa? You knocked 2 things off of our list for worst superhero movies of all time. She knocked number 2. So she's the one that's gotten the highest so far. Superman 4 is the second worst superhero movie of all time. Superman 3 is the 7th worst superhero movie of all time.
I don't know if I've seen all of the old Superman movies.
Those are the Christopher Reeve movies, yeah.
Yes. I don't know if I've seen them all.
I think one of those is when he, flies around the world in reverse.
Super fast.
And it
change time, go back. Time. That's right. I remember that. That is ridiculously dumb.
But hey, we got Facebook really helping you out. And then the only one we haven't mentioned yet that has been mentioned is the only one we haven't mentioned yet that hasn't been mentioned. Wow, it's not late at night or nothing. Sabrina guesses Daredevil, and she says, "I shudder at the thought that I ever watched it." I've already said I love Daredevil. I thought it was great. I like the Daredevil character, and that is not on the top 10 worst, but it is not even close near the top either. It's number 35.
And everyone's gonna have their own opinions either way, like, dislike, and for geeks like us, who know the characters, it's gonna be a lot different than like my wife Dessa. She's never read the comic books. So she only knows the characters from the movies type thing, you know what I mean? Or from what, somebody like me or you tell her.
Which means they're probably a better person to ask for which one of these movies is the worst. Because they don't have any
that
biases.
actually makes sense because they don't know the characters. They only know the movie, so they can say, "Hey, this movie is good," or "This movie is bad."
Yeah, they have no
You know what I
biases.
mean?
It's not like, oh, that was a pretty good movie, but they completely changed the origin of this or the relationship of that. You know what I mean? So they don't have any of those kind of.
Yeah. Just like how, the book's always better than movie, because the movie has to leave so much stuff out. They can't. To make a movie exactly like a book or a movie exactly like a comic, it's darn near impossible because you'd have a 15-hour-long movie. And so they pick and choose what storylines are going to
awesome. I would watch a 15-hour-long Avengers.
Oh, Avengers? Yeah, that'd be pretty good. Or a Batman. I mean,
back to this list. We still have yet to knock off the number one worst comic book movie of all time. Can you hit it? Cartman, come on. You can do this. My faith is in you.
Give me a hint.
Very famous celebrity that is the star of this. It's not
Brad
like some
Pitt?
off-the-wall celebrity.
Yeah. Let's see. Was Brad Pitt ever a superhero?
No.
Shoot. Okay, give me another hint.
All right, a DC movie.
DC. We already talked about Green Lantern. It's not Green Lantern, is it?
It's not Green Lantern, but Green Lantern did just barely miss this list. They're the number 12 worst of all time.
Okay, it's DC. And you said Flash isn't even on your list.
Right. I only did movies that went to the theaters.
Okay. I gotta give up. I can't think of any DC movies.
You ready for this? The worst superhero movie of all time. I can't believe nobody said it. Catwoman.
Oh my gosh, are you
With Halle
serious?
Berry. Halle Berry, Catwoman, is the worst superhero movie of all time.
Oh,
Which
man.
makes sense. I mean, how can you make a movie out of a secondary character? That's ridiculous.
That's true. Well, Catwoman's a pretty good character.
She's a great secondary character, but she's a secondary character.
That's true. That's true. I don't know if I've ever seen
That'd be like making a Robin movie.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That'd be pretty bad.
Can you guess any other movies on this list?
I'm racking my brain, and on the spot, I cannot think of any more
Let me go ahead
bad
and tell
superhero movies.
Well, okay, how about this? I'll give one of them is one of the Batman movies.
One of the Batman. Oh,
so which is the worst?
The
Batman
last one,
movie?
Batman and Robin.
Batman and Robin is the third worst superhero movie of all time. That's
Totally
the one
agree.
with Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze.
And Jim Carrey as the Riddler.
No, Jim Carrey as the Riddler was in
Number 3. That was Batman Forever.
Batman Forever, and that one I thought was. I didn't like that movie. That movie's stupid. That movie's horrible. But Jim Carrey as the Riddler made sense.
Yeah,
Tommy Lee Jones as a kind of a silly, weird, I don't even know how to describe him, Two-Face, made no sense.
Yeah. Riddler is one of my favorite Batman villains, and I actually read, there's this website every geek out there should check out. It's called, go to toplessrobot.com. It is like up-to-date geek news and up-to-date, everything about superhero movies, everything. It's a great website. You should check it out. Really cool.
I will.
But, it's one of my favorite websites. I check it every couple days. But they had an article about, cause what I was saying was, the Riddler is one of my favorite DC characters. I would love to have seen him to see what they could have done in this new series of the Batman movies.
Right. That would have been
And,
cool.
On this, they had an article about how the makers wanted, Riddler as the villain for the third one. And guess who they wanted to play him?
Jim Carrey.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
I think that'd be okay.
I think that would have been awesome. Leonardo DiCaprio can play any kind of part.
Right.
And so I'm really disappointed that Riddler didn't make it.
Leonardo DiCaprio would have to lose a little weight.
Oh,
he'd have to be
I'm sure he could do
skinny
that.
little weirdo.
Yeah.
The only two on the list that we haven't talked about yet of the worst of all time is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 3. That's the one where they go, I think they either go back in time or they just go to China or something. But I think they actually go back in time to China or something like that.
Yeah.
Right? I know. I always get, strangely enough, I get Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 mixed up with Karate Kid 3 because they both have to do with going to Asia,
China or whatever.
Yeah.
That's really funny because me and one of my buddies at work, we're talking about doing a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle marathon. And
the second one is the best. The Secret of the Ooze.
Yes, that one was awesome.
Oh, yeah. So this concludes episode 3 of Bro Sports, and I'd just like to remind our listeners out there to go to our Facebook page, Bro Sports Podcast, and like our page. This will ensure that you get the episodes updates every Wednesday evening. This will also allow you to contribute to our show, to have a voice on our show, so that you can steer us in the right direction on our main headlines for each show. Cartman, now I hear that you have a special offer for our listeners.
I do have a special offer. This Thursday at around noon to 1 p.m., I'm going to put a status update on Facebook. Like this offer, and you have a chance to win a hat of your favorite sports franchise. Everybody who likes this post will be put into a drawing, totally random, I promise, to win a hat of their favorite sports franchise, and I'll have it sent straight to your house. I'll send you a message, we'll hook up, and I'll have it sent to your house. We want as many people to listen as we can. So that's what this whole thing's about. So spread the word. And also, I have a piece of advice for you guys this week. My piece of advice is don't take life too seriously, because you'll never get out of it alive.
Now that's some good advice.